In this video, I'm going to take a little bit of time to compare the syntax between arrays and objects in JavaScript. So let's start by comparing them conceptually. Remember that an array is used to store a list of data. And when we add things to an array, there is a very specific and particular order. Every item is bound to an index that we refer to it by. The first item is bound to index 0, the next item is bound to index 1, and so on. So an object, on the other hand, is not a list. There is no particular order. I like to imagine objects as just a gelatinous blob with a bunch of things floating around inside. So key value pairs, that's really important. And in some languages, objects are called dictionaries. And the reason that I bring that up is that I think the idea of a dictionary is helpful here. If you think of a dictionary, it has a bunch of key value pairs. It has words and then corresponding definitions. So if I want to know the definition of a word, let's say I'm helping my grandma out, she doesn't know what LOL means. Well, we can open up the dictionary, find LOL, and I can finally help my grandma understand that LOL doesn't mean leg of lamb, but it instead means laugh out loud. So again, dictionary, if that helps you remember it, we look something up based off of a key and we get a corresponding value. Let's now start comparing the syntax. So I'm going to go over to the arrays window and make a new array of what else but dogs. So var dogs equals an empty array. And I'm going to just fill in some data here. So we'll go with Rusty, of course, Lucky, and Bubba. And I hit enter, and that makes me an array with 3 items in it. Let's compare that to making an object. So to make an object, we will make a single dog represented in an object. And we can do this all on one line like we did with the array, but it gets very long, so the convention and what you'll see most often is that people break it up into separate lines. Our dog will just have 2 pieces of information, name and breed. So let's add name. Name will be Bubba, and breed will be Lab. Hit enter, and we can retrieve dog, and we see that we have name as Bubba, breed as Lab. So again, the syntax, a key without quotes. We can have quotes there, but you almost never see that. Colon, a value, which can be a string, but remember it can be anything. It can be a number, it can be another object, it can be an array, a boolean, undefined, null. Any possible value can go here. So next I'd like to compare the syntax to access data out. So let's go to the array. And let's say I want to retrieve the second item. I want to get Lucky out of the array. So to do that, I need to know his index, 0, 1, index of 1, so dogs, square bracket, 1, and I got lucky, and I didn't even have to stay up all night. So let's contrast that with how we access an individual property out of an object. Remember, there are 2 different ways we can do it. Let's access Bubba, so I need to type name, and the first one, which is most array-like, is square brackets with a property, name, and that's going to give me Bubba. But the other version is to use the dot notation, dog dot name, and I get Bubba. So both of them do the exact same thing, remember, either one. A comparison that I think helps here is that an array is just a very special type of an object, where the keys are always numbers. So it's still a key value pair. Our key value pair is between 0 and Rusty, 1 and Lucky, 2 and Bubba. Over here, we have key value pairs, where we have name as the key and Bubba as the value, breed as the key, and lab as the value. So again, you can think of an array as just a special version of an object. And actually behind the scenes, it actually is an object, which we'll see later on. Next, let's talk about adding new data in after the fact. I can use methods like push or unshift, or I can do it manually by figuring out what index I want to add something to. But let's just use push. So I'll do dogs.push, and I'll push in a dog, Wyatt. And we look at dogs, and we've added in a new element. To do that to our dog object, if we want to add in the property age, I don't need a special method like push or unshift, because the whole point of those array methods is to work with the order of the array, to add something to the end or to the beginning. But because there is no end or beginning in an object, all I have to do is say dog, and I can use this syntax, age equals 6, or I can do dog.age equals 6. and I look at dog, and we get this object with name, Bubba, breed, lab, and the last key value pair that we just added, age 6. So this is a big difference. To add something in, I just can do it arbitrarily, assign any key that I want and any value that I want, and they'll automatically be added in for me. On an array, I need to specify exactly where it's added in. At the end of the array, the beginning, the middle, index 1000, it's up to me. Lastly, let's talk about updating items. Let's take our array and change Lucky to Lucy. To do that, I just need to find Lucky first, which is dogs 1. That gives me Lucky, and then I reassign the value of dogs 1 to Lucy. On an object, it works very similarly. Let's change the breed to black lab. So I first need to retrieve dog.breed and then reset it to be black lab. Just like that. And if I look at dog now, we see breed has a value of black lab. So let's sum up the big differences here. Both of them, arrays and objects, use key value pairs, but arrays are a special subset of key value pairs where the keys are always numbers and they're always in order. An object, the key can be anything. It doesn't matter if it's a number or if the key is name or breed, it's arbitrary, and there is no special order.